Week 3, it's Dolphins, Bills. A very one-sided situation over at FanDuel Sportsbook. Any way the Dolphins can get their first win of the year. Any chance? What would that look like? Let me know on Twitter at Hey K Adams Show, or at Hey K Adams and at Evan Adams Show. One of those two. Mix them together. Do whatever you want. We have a Hall of Famer on the program, radio analyst Rod Woodson here. Who better to break everything down in the AFC North right now? And I got to chat with Calais Campbell. Is it borrowed time? Is it precious time? How much longer do we have him? I hope a long time. He's got 2 sacks to start the year. It all kicks off tonight. Get your bets in at FanDuel Sportsbook. Dolphins, Bills tonight. Let's take a look at the full slate, shall we? Really nice games this week in Rams. Eagles divisional matchup as good as it gets. Philly 3.5-point faves. In that one, at home, Chargers 2.5-point faves over Denver. Rare opportunity to complete the cycle and knock off 3 of their divisional opponents in the first 3 weeks of the season. NFC West battle of undefeateds. Hamilton, what is going on here? What are you're like mucking with my notes. Matthew Hamilton, what are you doing? Knock it off.
Hey.
What are you doing?
My bad. I was putting in a little note from our friend Devin McCourty.
What's the note?
That I had forgot to put in there. Well, that battle in the NFC West, those undefeateds, we're hearing Brock Purdy might play. Kyle Shanahan told us that yesterday. And if you remember, Devin told us with the way Mac Jones is playing, it might push Brock back into that starting role a little bit quicker. It might help him heal up that toe a little faster.
You think that it's like the Jimmy Garoppolo effect? He's bringing Mac Jones is bringing out the best in Brock Purdy, and it was the healing property that Wolverine has in X-Men to bring him back to the field quicker. I like that. That's a good, nice little take here. The Cardinals take on the Niners in the Bay, by the way. San Francisco 2.5-point faves there. That's what also I was seeing on that full screen. Chargers 2.5-point faves over Denver. Knocking off all 3 of your divisional opponents to start the season is sexy. That is a sexy move if they can pull it off with Jim Harbaugh. This game tonight in the in the good old East of the AFC, I don't know how to feel about it. I want to say, is it still 11.5? What is it? 11.5. Okay. I just feel like these games on short weeks, when it's that big of a spread, and I know what they did to the Jets last year, and I know that they're a Super Bowl contender, and I know they have Josh. I know all the things. Hamilton, I just feel like short week, divisional matchup. I might take the Bills or the Dolphins in this one.
Really?
Tua's out here giving all these accolades to Josh, like all this, like they're just like, you don't think there's any chance that the Dolphins win this one?
I mean, there's always a chance, but we saw the short week divisional thing Thursday Night Football week 2 last year, and the Bills blew them out. And that one was in Miami. This one's in Buffalo, where they've lost 9 straight games. It's hard for me to get there.
Crazy. But, you know what 9 straight means? That's math. It's time.
Yeah.
Dolphins win tonight. I don't like when things are this lopsided. It's very like a lot of bravado. Take some nerve.
Yeah.
Having an 11.5-point spread. I think they win.
Some nerve overlords.
I think they win on the road. I think you're really going to have Drake May run all over you. And you don't think that affected this locker room in some way? I don't believe it. They're going to find the guts, the chutzpah. They're going to find it, and they're going to bring it tonight. Weird. Thursday nights couldn't be weirder. 11.5 is crazy.
It's true.
Yeah. And their season's on the line. There's that too. You don't think the Bills are maybe looking past the Dolphins? I've got a lot of like hackneyed.
This is
like one line. I've got a lot of like one-liners, NFL one-liners to make my point here. You've
done some heavy lifting in the past. This is some of your best work so far.
Who do the Bills have week 4?
The Saints.
Oh, maybe they could
play
it. And then who?
And then the Patriots, and then the Falcons, and then they get their bye.
Oh, really tough start to the year for Buffalo. Oh my gosh!
And then they get the Panthers out of the bye.
Yeah. Oh, really? What a tough draw they got. They lose tonight. They're not going undefeated all the way, and this is the loss. This is the loss. They're overlooking it. They're feeling themselves too much. Like that. Yeah, I haven't heard anything mean from Bills fans in a minute. We gotta.
Well, here you go.
Here we go. And they won't understand the laughter either, like anything, like it's not sarcasm, doesn't translate anywhere in sports usually. So there's that. Okay. So that's what, yeah. Season's ending though. You know, they can't go to 0-3. And they do have to go to Buffalo and they got to get it done in 9 straight and blah, 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 blah. There are the reason to not pick the Dolphins over on FanDuel Sportsbook is that they've got some stuff that you can't like fix. And that's a problem, right? But one thing that I'd like for them to fix is to come back to the offensive sort of who they are when they look in the mirror that made them successful. That's who they are. And they need to run the ball. If you look at this, when they won 11 games under Mike McDaniel in 2023, this team ranked 6th in rushing, 1st in yards per carry, right smack in the middle of the league as far as run pass balance. And this year, the yards per carry is awesome. They rank 4th. They rank dead last as far as balanced running on 27.5% of plays. It's not going to do it, okay? And yes, some of that's game script, the game getting away from them being down early, they have to pass. I get all of that. But if you want the chance at pulling off this win tonight that I think you're going to get, you got to have Achane. You got to have them just going to work and staying disciplined enough to keep that going. They're at their best when Tua is at his best and they can like sort of build around the run game. It's just what it is, okay? And then Ed Oliver, oh, I forgot this. No Ed Oliver tonight. No Matt Milano tonight. The Bills are losing this game. People, don't you understand? Achane's line, by the way, and he'll have success, a little more success than he would if those guys were healthy, of course. 55.5 tonight is the line on FanDuel Sportsbook. So he's probably going to have well over 100 for them to have a shot in this one. But I think they get their first win of the year tonight. Achane also plus 110 to score a touchdown. I'm seeing on FanDuel. Guys, we have this touchdown jackpot promo I want to make sure you guys know about. So if you pick, and Achane's a good bet for this, by the way. FanDuel has this Thursday touchdown jackpot, and you can put an anytime touchdown bet in. And if your player scores the first or last touchdown, you get a share of $2 million in bonus bets. All you got to do is go to FanDuel Sportsbook. You claim the touchdown sweepstakes token, get over there and claim yours now. And we're approaching the weekend slate. So let's get to some top storylines here, though I hope, let's just take a look at these really quick. Okay. Here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to start with, these are like the little quirks that I enjoy. Okay. And number 3 for week 3, Cowboys are 1.5 point underdogs against the 0-2 Bears in Matt Eberflus's return to Chicago in a great revenge game as the DC in Dallas. Now, as bad as that loss to the Lions was in week 2, and it was bad, Caleb did take steps in the right direction, mostly looking at his guy, Roma Dunze, how he's operating that offense. So it's not his fault that the Bears' defensive line and their secondary could not do anything and gave up 52 points. I'm sort of fascinated to see how Eberflus attacks Caleb in this one, right? We'll see what the Cowboys' defense looks like. I don't know. They don't have, obviously they got rid of Micah, but they don't have Trayvon Diggs potentially. He's dealing with a sickness, I believe. Deron Bland missed practice yesterday. I don't know. Brandon didn't even play last week, so that played into all of this. Big advantage for Caleb Williams this week if those guys don't play, and maybe potentially even in this matchup. Okay. How about Bengals Vikings? Battle of the backups. Jake Browning, Carson Wentz. I think this one's going to be especially important from the Bengals perspective in Cincy. Broncos, Lions, Packers coming up next on the docket. That is brutal schedule for them. This is maybe it's their like first game with Browning actually just totally starting so he can get his stuff together. This is that they need this win. This is the winnable game on that slate. And it's their first one with Browning starting from the top. So it needs to sort of hopefully figure itself out. I'm looking. They're 3-point underdogs on the road. When I think about Jake Browning, I think of the moment against these Vikings and against Brian Flores and that defense a couple of years ago. He threw over 300 yards in that game, couple of scores to T. Higgins. The offense is pretty similar, isn't it? They even have more pieces to play with and should be strong. Can he stay alive? I don't know. Can he stay okay, upright, behind that line? I don't know about that. But this is the game. This is a huge game, must-win game for the Bengals to stay alive while Joe Burrow is on the mend. And at number 1, the thing I'm sort of fascinated to see play out, the questions I want answered, it's got to be this. I mean, this Rams-Eagles game is what I will be watching this weekend. It's in Philly. Last time we saw this game, it was playoffs. It was snow, remember? And, all that stuff was going on. But this is a preview potentially of what's going on and seeding implications in the NFC, mind you, this early in the season, which is fun to see. And both teams look like they're mid-season, late season playoff form. to start this damn thing in 2025. So the Rams, the only team that came even remotely close to beating the Eagles in the playoffs last year. That game, of course, comes down to the wire. If they're actually going to beat them, they have to find an answer for one Saquon Barkley. They just do. They got to make it done and get it done. Divisional round, remember, regular season game against the Rams. Saquon torches this defense in a way I've never seen before. 268 yards per game in those two games. Let me say that again. 267 yards per game in those contests on average. That is all you need to know, okay? So 4 total touchdowns. It does not get more dominant than that. So we'll see if the Rams can figure out some sort of antidote to what's going on with the Saquon problem that everybody seems to have. But this one particularly worse. And we'll see how that goes. Okay, I got to take a break. I need to breathe. I need to too much going on. Rod Woodson's on the show today. We have Calais Campbell on the show today. Rod, take me to the AFC North, my friend. We'll be back.
Rod Woodson. Hammered by Rod Woodson. Play by Rod Woodson. What a great play by Rod Woodson. Picked up by Woodson. He's got Green traveling. Rod Woodson goes all the way.
Let's welcome him in, a Super Bowl champion, defensive player of the year. I don't know where he's got those trophies. He's also a host of the Laying the Wood podcast. How is hosting a podcast, Rod Woodson? I bet when you were, all those highlights I was just saying, if you were to tell that guy who's going to host a podcast in 2025, what would he say?
No way. I never thought I would do it. But it is fun. It's fun to talk about something I love. And I love football. You know, I've been playing football since I've been 9 years old from Fort Wayne, Indiana, playing PAL with the PAL Raiders back in the day. And got to play 17 years in the National Football League. And I'm getting to speak about something that I love. And it's you know, I'm still learning how to figure out all the topics that we want to talk about and what's like really critical. And I think, you know, hopefully as I grow into this thing that we'll have some better topics, but we have fun doing it. It's a really good time. I mean, TJ the Brick, you know, that guy's been around forever. Yeah. So he's a good partner to have.
It's very exciting. You're also, you know, you're on the call for Ravens Game Day Radio. You're a Mr. Media, which we love to have. Thank you for sharing some time and all of your insights. I always learn a lot and get a lot of questions answered when you join the show, so I appreciate it. We've got, you know, I'd like to get into the Ravens defense. Okay. It has been outside of a fourth quarter against the Bills. It's pretty great, pretty good looking to start the season. Can you sort of explain to me, Rod, and let's start here. Why did, in my eyes, a fan's eyes, they looked a little like softer in coverage in the fourth quarter? What is that?
Yeah. I mean, you know, when you're up 15, and even though it's the beginning of the fourth quarter, I think you have to be really careful. And I think Zach Gore is still learning. You got to remember, Zach Gore played, I think, 4 years, 5 years, something of that nature. He's only coached like 3 to 4 years. But in his coaching world of being the play caller, he's still learning like how he wants his defense to look. And I think, you know, obviously a lot of things went wrong. We saw right there where the tight end tips the ball and it goes right into the Buffalo Bills receiver hand. Right there, you would love to see Nate Wiggins jump in front of the tight end on that seam route, but he played outside. Right there, it was a zero coverage. Zaire Alexander didn't practice a lot. They put him in, you know, I thought they put him in a couple of bad situations in those zero coverages. But I think we saw last week where Zaire, he was a healthy scratch, and they played more of a top-down mentality. They were still getting their pressures, but they kept everything in front of them. Obviously, Joe Flacco is not Josh Allen and running the football. Obviously, we're not saying that. But with that being said, it kept everybody's eyes looking at the quarterback, and everybody was breaking on the ball. So they played way better in the second week than obviously against Josh Allen. But each week they have to grow. And I think, and then I've said this before, is that just whatever they did last year was last year. Some of the things that you did well probably doesn't work with some of the skill set players that you have on your roster this year. So I think Zach has to figure out what his guys are going to do well. We saw, you know, Agent Zero, what we call him, Agent Zero, run that fumble recovery back for a touchdown. Looked like he was running track in the 100 meters in the Olympics. But you know, to see that growth on the defensive side, if they can keep growing, because Lamar's growing every single year as a quarterback in the National Football League, And as the defense can keep growing this year, like it did the last 8 weeks last year, you're going to have really something special.
I'm thinking about this game against the Lions as you're seeing like the spread and everything down here right now. Like if they have the lead late against the Lions on Monday Night Football, it's going to come up again. And I'm trying to, with your explanation of it, and maybe it's like they need to figure it out and Zach Orr needs to put them in the positions. Do they have the guys? Like they were in on Micah reportedly, didn't get Micah. Like, do they have that bullware that you had? Do you have the Peter, Mike McCrary? Like, do they have that or do they need that?
Losing Van Noy, because he had a hammy, losing him in the game hurt him. Because they're depth at rusher. But when you start talking about the National Football League and depth, everybody has depth issues. I mean, it's a young man's game. So most of the backups in the National Football League are first, second, third-year players. When I came into the league, all the backups were 5, 6, 7-year players. So they've been in the league for quite a long time. So they understand how to play, how to practice. They've been in game times. They played under the lights. So that game day experience never shocked them. They never had that inexperienced player out there. Well, you have it quite a bit nowadays. And I think if you don't have your best players on the roster or on the field, it does hurt. But they do have players. I mean, Mike Green from Marshall, I think he's going to be a really good player. He just has to figure it. He's a speed guy. So now he needs to speed, maybe run some games for him, speed to power inside. I think they're going to figure it out. I think the second game last week against Cleveland, I think Zach said, okay, the stuff that we did last year and it worked, maybe is not great for this defensive unit. And he changed the game plan up quite a bit. And they played really well with that. So I would think it's going to be that same thing. With Jared Goff, you got to take away the running game because they got a two-headed monster with Gibbs and Montgomery. And you got to make Jared Goff a drop-back passer. He can throw the football, but he is at his best when he is play-action passing, when he is putting in the belly of the running back and he's pulling it out and he's looking up the field and he's running that double dig. I mean, that's when he is at his best. So if you can take that away from him and make him just drop back and throw the football, that I think the advantage goes to the defense for the Ravens because they do have rushers and they can collapse it. They can collapse from inside out because Matabike is a beast from the inside.
Are they better than they were last year defensively? They added these pieces. They drafted Starks.
I think they're going to get there. So Starks he's a rookie. All right. So you think about what Darius Washington did last year. Darius Washington, when he got implemented into the system about week 9-ish, somewhere in that area, they really start to flourish, but he's been in the league for quite a while, right? So he's a veteran player who just went out there and made a lot of big plays for him. I mean, the play that he hit Russell Wilson going into the end zone and made him fumble when they played the Steelers was a huge turn of events for that season, especially at the end of the year for the Ravens. So I think Malachi is going to get to that point. Right now, he's just playing football, right? He's playing football. He's back there. He's exactly where he's supposed to be. But when he starts getting comfortable, you're going to start seeing him like he was in college. He's going to be all over the place. He's a great tackler. You go along with Kyle Hamilton, who I think might be the best tackling safety outside of Branch for Detroit in the National Football League.
So they're going to figure it out. Fix your Steelers for me. Those were all softballs. Ravens figured out. You're seeing it's going to be Monday Night Football, all that. What's going on with the Steelers defense?
That is a great question. The crazy thing
Rob, if we put it in a context here, 29th in scoring and total defense and scoring and total. All the talent in the world.
Not just that, I think they, like the last 7 games or 8 games, have given up like 27, 28 points a game. No, Terrell Austin has to figure out what they have. They went all in. You bring in big play Slay, you bring in Ramsey, you bring in those players, but how do they fit together? And I think, when you look at the rules and you've seen this, what we call, like you've seen a double tight formation and guys getting beat with deep cross, and we call them cross country routes. They have to make sure their rules on the back end helps the players who are in coverage. And obviously the pass rush helps the coverage and your coverage helps your pass rush. It goes hand in hand. Right now, they're not playing great football. And You got to hope that Terrell Austin figures out what they like to do, because when we used to see the Steelers defense, man, it was those fire zones. They were coming from all over the place, that Dick LeBeau feel, the Dick LeBeau style. This is not the same defense. It's not the same play calling that you would normally see. So hopefully Terrell does figure it out, because they do have the players to do it. But you got to do it every week in the national
What would you
football.
do? What would you do? Let's say Terrell takes a day off and says, "Get on in here, Rod. Lay the wood," as you would say, right?
Well,
After
I
laying
think
the wood
that,
podcast. What would you do to fix what's going on?
I think the biggest thing when you look at some of the things that they do is that their rules and coverage. The rules and coverage puts the players at bay. So when you see the deep crossing routes, right? So we call it cross country. They're both corners are chasing guys across the field. Well, we used to call it zombie. So on the strong side, we would zombie it. So if that receiver ran a deep over route, that safety's going to take him. Then the corner's going to stop, become the safety on the opposite side, kind of like modifying that post. And then other crosser who comes over, that other corner who's chasing him, he's going to have another guy right sitting in his face. So I think some of the rules that he has, sometimes when they get in bunch, we used to call lock banjo, where you lock the point guy and then you banjo the number 3 guy and the number 1 guy.
You gotta, yeah, okay. And
I don't want to get too, I don't want to get overly but I'm saying the rules that they have.
Great. I'm not following.
The rules that they have is got to be simplified for the players on the back end, because you always think, well, they play in the National Football League, they should be able to cover. Yeah, but man, listen, it's hard to cover the best players in the world for 5 seconds. Running away from
I thought you were just going to say, Rob, I thought you were just going to say they miss Minka.
I like Minka. I think they have this. I think they got the tools there.
Okay.
They just got to make sure they have the right rules in their coverage. And then everybody's talking through those rules, pre-snap, post-snap. And when you see guys quiet, when they're quiet as QT hush, you got issues. I don't know if you remember, you're younger than me. QT Hush is the guy who used to sit there and just go, and he would talk really quietly, like, hey, he's crossing. Wait, there's 65,000 people in the stands. They can't hear that. You got to point, you got to yell, hey, you're coming over. He's coming over. Jalen, he's coming over. So, I mean, you got to really talk to, and you got to pre-talk that. You got to pre-snap it before the snap occurs. And then once the ball is snapped, you got to talk them all the way through. So I just think they have the skill set, and most teams do have the skill set, but sometimes they don't put their players in the best positions to make the plays they have to make week in and week out.
Who do you like more this year, the Ravens or the Steelers? With the way it's gone through 2 weeks.
The Ravens.
The
Ravens they might have the best roster in football. They just have to put it all together. I mean, you put up a 40 burger and you lose. Right? They should be 2-0. They just had that breakdown. I don't think that'll happen again with them. I think they're going to keep growing. I like Zach as a defense coordinator, because Zach, I think he's more comfortable this year of what he knows and what he likes. I think he learned a lot from Dean Pease in that last 8 weeks. Dean Pease, the OG. Dean Pease, the Dick LeBeaus of the world. Those are the guys that you need to have on your Rolodex as a defense coordinator, especially the younger guys. And then just call them up and say, hey, what do you see? What do you like? And then with that, I think he'll keep growing. I know he's more comfortable. He has a lot of energy. The players love him. So I think he's going to keep getting better. And I think he's going to keep seeing what his guys do well on the defensive side, because the offense, I mean, they're putting up 40 every week.
Lamar looks insane. He looks like better than ever somehow.
It's crazy. This is 7th year, and he's gotten better. That's the crazy thing. He's really gotten better at throwing the football deep, the deep ball. His deep ball used to be flat. Now his deep ball reminds me of Warren Moon. Warren Moon used to throw this high arcing ball to his receivers, allow his guys to adjust to it. One of the best.
Sounds like a dream.
It would be. I mean, it is. And then on top of that, how do you tackle a guy like Lamar Jackson? Because when he gets in space, he's still looking down the field. But then when he wants to run it, he makes all the grown men in the National Football League very silly in space, because it's hard to tackle him one-on-one in space.
He's 28 years old. I just looked it up.
Crazy.
28. And he has gotten better every year.
And he should have won the MVP last year.
I don't even know what
he
the
won the MVP last year. Should have 3 already. All right.
Mm-hmm. I also thought he should be the MVP, not to put it past Josh Allen, who obviously is crushing as well. It'll be very interesting to see, and they are the favorites, by the way, as they should be on FanDuel Sportsbook. They're the favorites to win the Super Bowl. These Ravens, and we'll see if they can get past the Lions after they are feeling a little more confident taking down the Bears in Week 2. Did you hear this Jim Harbaugh thing about Derwin James?
No.
He said this week, we thought of you right away because he said this week that Derwin James, this is the quote. And Jim's always just hyping up his guys, gassing him up.
Jim was my roommate in Baltimore when I played with the Ravens.
I know. So Jim said that Derwin James is the best safety he's ever seen in the NFL. And I got it. It must have a little something to do with you. How does that make you feel? And maybe you want to take me back to, 1992?
Well, when I saw Jimmy,
look at this.
When I saw Jimmy, I played corner, right? So I was playing corner at that point.
I didn't know that. That's my bad.
Listen, the great thing is all the guys who play in the National Football League and coaches, we all want to say our players are the best players ever, right? But when you start saying ever, so he's better than Night Train Lane, he's better than all the other safeties that ever, Ronnie Lott, he's better than all those other guys who ever suited up in a uniform in the National Football League. Now, listen, I got a lot of respect for James. I really do. I love, even in the game, you see him coming in, he picked the offensive lineman, and the DN came around, and I'm like, who picks an offensive lineman with the safety? Not that many people can do that. So I do have a lot of love for him. He can cover, he can run down the field. You've seen him in that Tampa 2 where he tipped the ball and they got the interception. He has a really good skill set, but to say he's the best safety ever is, I think we should let him finish his career. If he can get into Canton, and then we can start talking about who's the best safety ever. We can have the conversation. Tell me who's, I want to know who's the best safety ever. Tell me. I think there's a wide variety of people, right? So
no.
When you think about Night Train Lane had the most interceptions in a given year, 14 as a safety. He was a rookie when he did it. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Right? Now, I do say, listen, I love Donnie Shell, but I love Ronnie Lott. I think
Ronnie's
Troy.
Iconic.
I think Troy. I think Ed Reed. I think those type of players who just see the game differently and they make these big plays in huge moments consistently throughout their career. Those players you have to talk about. And I think I think he's getting to that point where he's going to be making these big plays in big games and big moments. But until he gets to that point, I think you got to put on the brakes. I love Jimmy. Right? I love the Harbaugh family. But put on the brakes and let's say he is an outstanding player. And they're using his skill set to highlight that, which is a great thing. So, let him finish his career. And if he get inducted into the Hall of Fame, then we can start talking about, is he in that same category of being one of the best safeties ever?
You did everything. I've told you this. You're the best overall DB in my mind. You're excluding yourself from this conversation for some reason, which I love.
Well, we're talking safeties. Now, when we talk straight DB, that would be a little bit
That's
different.
why I said you're the best. You did a little everything at that elite level. Is Derwin James the best safety in the game right now? And I know you're going to disagree and you're going to go right back to Baltimore.
That's a good one. I tell you what, listen, Kyle Hamilton, man. And I really want to unlock his natural ability because he's so talented. But I want him to, he sees the game in a certain way. And I had a conversation with him before the season started, and I want him to talk to Ed Reed and talk to Troy Polamalu and talk to the Ronnie Lotts and untap that natural ability that he has. He's so long, he's so fast, he's so quick. He makes so many tackles for loss week in and week out. He makes big plays for the team, a lot of sacks for the team. So is James the best safety? He's one of the best safeties along with Kyle, along with Branch. I think there's several guys in that category.
It's okay
But
to say Kyle's the best, Rod. He's the best. You think he's the best safety in the game?
I like giving people love. I never put any one player above everybody else while they're playing because, okay, let's say
the story's not done.
Derwin plays great for a couple of years and then for some reason he falls off the cliff, right? And then he's not playing well for a couple of years. Well, then we're not going to talk about him. So let him keep playing the way he is. Let him keep progressing because the great players, and this is what Chuck Noll told me. He said, this is a simple game, but it's not easy to play at a high level on a consistent basis. The great players find a way to do it in practice every single day, every single rep, and it happens in games consistently for them throughout their career.
I think it's a little scary of a thought that you're saying that you had a talk with Kyle and said you should talk to these other guys to unlock your natural ability. This was, I believe, an all-pro.
Well, not to unlock it, but to help him see different ways to see the game. I got some information from Frank Minifield, from Hanford Dixon, right? From Albert Lewis, some different guys that I've talked to. And I said, oh, I kind of like what you're doing there. I kind of like what you're doing here. So as long as Kyle, I talked to Kyle already, if he can talk to Ed, he can take a little something from Ed. If he can talk to Troy, he can take a little something from Troy. If he talks to Ronnie Lott, he takes a little something from Ronnie Lott, and he puts it all on his tool belt. That's when you become this dude is legit. That's when you're defensive player of the year category. And I think he definitely has the skill set as long as he keeps growing and learning the game. And then at the end of the day, defensive players are great when there's no self-doubt. They put their foot in the ground and they go. And
did he reach out to you?
I've talked to Kyle. We had a conversation probably 4 weeks ago. We sat down and talked for about 45 minutes.
I love that.
And it's, he's really smart. And sometimes in football, you just got to go play. Like if you ever go to a Pop Warner game and they toss the ball to the right, like a toss sweep.
Okay.
All 22 players are on the right side. They're all over there because the ball's there. And then as we get older, for some reason, we get into high school and coaches start coaching out your natural ability. I need you in the middle of the field. You're the defensive end. You can't wrap. You can't chase. You can't fold.
Yeah.
You stay there because that's your job. And what was told to me from a guy named Rod Russ said, because I was questioning him stuff that he was saying. And I'm like, man, how can I do all that stuff? And he's like, listen, always be polite and kind to your coaches. Always sit there and shake your head and go, yeah. Sure, yeah. In your mind, in the back of your head, say, man, F that. When I get on the field, I'm going to go play. If the ball goes over there and if the quarterback is looking that way and he never throws to this receiver over here, I'm going to jump that other receiver and I'm going to get me intercepted for a touchdown. And I think once you learn to have a filter in your head, as some of the great players do, and you just go out there and play, you hear your coaches, you respect your coaches, but you still stay in your head. Once I cross that white line, I'm not playing ball. If the quarterback tells me he's going to throw the ball over there, he's looking at that guy, staring him down, and he's patting the ball, I'm gone. I'm not going to
the combo continuing with Rod Woodson on our YouTube break. We will, before we say goodbye, he needs to, it's the coaching. It sounds like he needs to, I like that. And he's also 24. So at first I was like, gosh, scary thought that he could be better than what he's been, but he's still developing. That makes a lot of sense. He's 24 years old, one of the best. And he is so smart that he's actually so intelligent about everything. And just talking to him, that there is probably a little bit of overthinking, too much calculus going on, and just go out there and use your instincts.
You went to Notre Dame, you went to Notre Dame. You probably have to take AP courses to get into Notre Dame, right?
Yeah. I have a lot of thoughts on Notre Dame that I'm not going to get into right now, but I will ask you before you go about Travis Hunter, okay? First 2 games, and this was everyone was talking before he was drafted, then he gets to the Jags and how they're using him and whatever. He played 61 snaps on offense so far. He has played 37% on defense. What do you make of this, and what is it doing to his development as a corner? We have 1 minute.
I'm just trying to figure out what they're doing with them, right? I don't even think they know what they're doing with them. I really don't. I don't know if they want him to be the number 1 receiver or the number 1 corner. I don't know what they want from him, and I don't even know if he knows what they want from him. If they had an in-depth conversation, to me, Travis Hunter can be a shutdown, lockdown corner in the National Football League. And he can play offense sparingly or a handful of plays here each week. You have a set of plays, you have a package for Travis Hunter. Every time he comes in, this is what he's going to do. But defensively, every snap, because it is hard to slow down the great receivers and great quarterbacks in the National Football League today. I mean, you got to have a lot of your game plans week in and week out as a defense coordinator has to be on point. But when you have if you can develop a shutdown corner, because he has a skill set to be that. He has a skill set to be a shutdown corner and to be a corner that can travel and be with the best receiver on the opposing team week in and week out. But you got to give him a shot. I mean, like, you have to, like, have a vision for him. Right now, it seems like they're just like, okay, dartboard, okay, he's going to 60-40.
Really?
Okay,
that's really what it looks like? It doesn't look like, I feel like
me, it feels like that because
up and,
to me, it does, because it feels like, okay, you know he's a good receiver.
Mm-hmm.
He's a hell of a corner.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And he's made big plays in college. This is not college.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the hardest position to find
Texans
in the National Football League is shut down corners.
Yeah. So we're saying play him at corner, right?
Play him at corner.
That's it. Give him a chance at corner, and then package plays like a Champ Bailey kind of vibe.
Like a champ, like Deion. I mean, Deion did it. Deion had a package, and then he is your shutdown corner. You let him grow at the corner position, and then you said, you know what? Look, I'm giving you 20 plays a game on offense, and these are going to be the type of plays that you're going to have. Some speed sweeps, some deep crossing routes, some go routes, but defensively, I want you to keep growing. So, hey, listen, we don't have to roll coverage. We can roll coverage away from you. And it's one-on-one, and that's what I love.
And we'll see if that bears out. Hopefully they listen to you, and everyone should listen to Laying the Wood with JT the Brick every week on YouTube. Kyle Hamilton, of course, you talk to him with the Ravens. You're on the radio call. So good luck with everything. Thank you for making time for us. And it's it's nice to have such a brilliant mind breaking it all down for us week to week. We appreciate it.
Oh, no, I don't have a brilliant mind. I have a confused mind that's all over the place.
You got to get Jim Harbaugh on the show, by the way. We'll talk to you. That'd be really fun. We'll go into the roommate files. We'll talk to Rod Woodson hopefully throughout the season. Love that. And now we're just keeping it defensive. Calais Campbell sat down with me yesterday. I think I was standing, actually. And I feel like he's not going to retire. I don't have a clear read on this, but it's a very cool storyline. He goes back, hometown hero. He's got these sacks. He closes out a game. He started his career in the Valley, of course. And there's a lot of connective stuff going on. And the NFC West is a little wild. They've got a big game. And by the way, we did say, I think in the interview, that Mac Jones is starting, but we should clarify that it might be Brock Purdy. Not sure if that's clear, but this interview was taped yesterday. Life is good for an all-pro, 6-time Pro Bowler, member of like the all 2010s team, I believe. It's great to see you. I'm getting a little like emotional or like schmoopy about this because I'm like scared it's your last year. So it's like, oh man, it's like the last time I get to like interview you as a player.
It's true. It's very likely. But I say, games like last week make you be like, I could probably still do this a little longer.
What is it about this? I like this angle. What is it about this 2025 team that is going to make you golfing, taking up another hobby, impossible?
My mindset has always been like play well enough where if I want to play again, I can. It's not really so much of like, anything else. I just want to play well enough where if I don't want to suck at football. And so if I feel like I'm sucking at football, I'm going to shut it down because that's just not good. Like I feel like I played too good a ball. I don't want my legacy. I don't want to hang around 1 year too long. I'd rather retire a year too early than a year too late.
You're like saving the day in these games so far this season, so you're certainly not done yet. But are you living in the moment?
I am. I feel like I told myself like just lose yourself in the moment. Don't worry about any of the possibilities of what could come. Just like play football with heart and just like leave it on the field. And, I even got a suite on the field, which costs a pretty penny. So I got my family close by so I could be able to interact with my kids kind of, before the game and after the game immediately. And even like at halftime, which was unique, but it was just like keeping things that like really mean something to me close by. And like the whole mindset right now is just like, like eventually I got to go and be, super dad and put all this, my selfish ways to the side because, like you could say I'm playing football to, for my kids, but I'm not. I'm playing for myself. Like I love this game, and it's a passion of mine. But eventually I got to go home and just be a super dad all the time. But if I'm going to sacrifice time with my kids and my family, I'm going to enjoy coming to the building. I'm going to maximize it to the fullest because, I could do the other stuff,
I mean, I would say you are a super dad and maybe you are doing it little for your kids because seeing them on the field and I saw them all over social media and you've got them one on each shoulder. Like it's beautiful. And it's what's important. I like that you deserve to be living in the moment. I love that for you, but you're kicking everyone's ass. So let's get to that. The game ending sack on Little Bryce Young to close it out on Sunday. What did it feel like, Calais, to have your first game back at State Farm Stadium in a Cardinals jersey end like that?
That was pretty surreal. I don't think you could have drawn it better if you were writing the story. It was, like I tried. I didn't even realize how much of like emotions would be there. But when I came out, even when I started getting into the tunnel to get announced. And I'm kind of just like rocking back and forth. And I had that feeling of like, oh, wow, like, this is like home, And then running out of the tunnel like I've always have. And like hearing that crowd roar and the crowd went crazy. It was like, okay, that's a good feeling. And then I went down to like, the place I always used to go to. They called it Calais Corner back in the day. And I, did my prayer and I just kind of like had a moment interacting with some fans. And it just felt so like, like comfortable and like and natural, real. And I just had this like, just a good, strong emotion, just fluster of emotions, And then as the game kind of started, I was like, dang, I ain't really playing the way I want to play. I gotta find my groove. And then, I was talking to my coach, a couple players, and I finally, I kind of got in my mind, kind of got into that feeling. I got to kind of start feeling just my presence. I had my gladiator moment where you kind of just, grab your grass and rub it together. And you kind of just like kind of feel your senses, and then we ended up making a couple plays to win the ball game, and that was just, it was a good feeling. Like after making that play, how the crowd erupted.
You've almost done it all, right? All pro. 2019 Walter Payton Man of the Year was probably the most important, impressive, and I'm sure one that means the most to you. Outside of a ring, what is the most important thing for you to accomplish before you do consider your career complete?
Well. I don't really think about like my career being complete in like terms of like stats or success. I'm just enjoying the ride. I love it and I'm still good at it. Like I don't really need to do anything else like stat wise. Now, of course, I want to move up some lists. Like I was talking to a couple guys. I didn't realize until one of the young guys asked me how many TFLs I had. So we looked it up and I was like, oh, I'm only at the time I was 15 away from first place. I was like, at 15, I could do that, So that's became a goal of mine this year is to try to get 15 TFLs. I already missed 2, but I got 2. So I should have 4 right now, but I only have 2. But it's, I was in the backfield, just got to make the play. That's on the list. And then there's a couple guys that of our era that have more sacks to me that I would like to pass on the list. One of the legends I just passed, Aaron Donald, and then JJ's actually ahead of me, so I would like to pass him too. I'm telling you, I'll never say none of this, but these are my goals.
It's me. I love it. You and me. You're just telling me. I love that. I like that because now when we're watching, we know that that's like in your head a little bit that you want you want them that much, and I love that. You're well on your way with those sacks, right? 2 sacks for the first 2 games of the season. No pressure here, but I'm calling for it. I'm calling for a return to 2018 double-digit sacks such situation.
When you get off to a fast start, you got a chance. I told myself though, like even last game, like I'm not even trying to chase the stats. I just want to play some good football. And I feel like in my history of playing football, when I just go out there and try to like play at an elite level, the sacks take care of themselves. But there are times where you just like, when I got to 99, I was chasing 100 and it took me forever. I'm just like,
it's the worst.
Hitting quarterbacks there, throwing as I'm hitting them, penalties get called. It's just like, like so close, but I'm getting back to like, all right, whatever happens, happens. I'm just playing good football. And but I have a feeling this could be a really special year.
I think there's questions about your quarterback in Kyler Murray. People want to see, the talent level. What do you see in him that makes you believe that this team can contend?
Well, he has all the talent in the world, and when he's in the zone, he's the best quarterback in football. You can say arguably, but he's got the gift, and he's a playmaker. He has just like instincts. I played against him and seen him make play after play. And so being on his team, I know those moments are coming. To me, I feel like media, you have to talk about something, right? And we're going to talk about and project and all that. And I love it. I hope to be there one day doing projections and stuff. But one thing I know is we're scrappy, and he's scrappy. And even if we're down 30 points in the game, he's going to claw and trying to get back. He's not going to just quit. He's going to fight. Try to make every throw to try to win a ball game. And it's football. Like, there's going to be some games you definitely win, some games you definitely lose, and then the bulk of them are going to be, where you got to, last drive matters. He's going to have to go down there and win a 2-minute drive for us to win a ball game, and we're going to have to get stops like we had the last 2 games. And I think for us to be as good as we want to be, it really comes down to just making the plays that come to us. And I feel like we dominated like 50 minutes, 40 minutes of these first 2 ball games, and then we had like just these lapses here and there. And that's, first, early game, trying to work through the kinks. But, when we put it together, man, I think we're one of the best teams in football, and we can hang with anybody. But at the same time, it's just talk, right? Anybody can say anything, we back it up. And, I think we got a good opportunity this week against San Francisco. They're a 2-0 team as well. I think people give them a lot of respect, and they should, because they earn it. They're a great defense, got weapons on offense, galore, quarterbacks, back practicing, he might play. It's going to be a tough ball game. But I'll say this, I'm looking forward to go up there into their house and playing a good football game.
Last time I saw you in person, we were drenched, sweating in the humidity of Miami. Okay, I remember training camp last year. It has not gone their way. They're the opposite of you. They haven't won a game. This does not look like the team that I saw down the stretch last year. So much talent. It's sort of like my biggest question mark team. Like, what's going on there? So I ask you, Calais, what is going on there?
Yeah, I say give them time. Give them time. They got some ballers over there, and they're not gonna just quit either, And so last year we were 2-6 and found a way to get back into the fight, So 0-2 is an easier hole to dig out of. And I know they're playing Thursday night, against a beast of an opponent. So even if they go down 0-3, give them time. They got some beasts over there.
I wanted to ask you about your T-shirt. Well, with what you're wearing here, it's the Cardinals Climb tee. I know it's very special, and I know that you are involved.
Yeah, so there's 1 in 20 people in the United States who suffer from special needs, and so this is just kind of a representation for us to really. We're doing I think it's February 21st. You can go to cardinalsclimb.com, and when you go through it, you'll get all the information you need to see. But it's just a great way for us to kind of shine some light on people with special needs, and to raise money and funds to help those programs and help those kids in need.
And it's 100% focused on supporting the special needs community, which is absolutely beautiful. I love that you're wearing the T-shirt. And yeah, wear it proudly. There we go. You know that you've sacked like 50 plus quarterbacks.
It's been a lot.
Crazy. Who haven't you gotten?
So, I've gotten Patrick Mahomes, but never that it counts. Every time I got Patrick Mahomes, it's a penalty. Every time.
Every time what?
Every time I sacked Patrick Mahomes, there was a penalty, and he threw it away a couple times too, and it's just like, so it never counted. So Patrick Mahomes is on my list.
Okay.
It won't be unless I play him in the Super Bowl, because we don't play him this year.
Listen, you might go to the Super Bowl. You keep sacking quarterbacks like this.
It's possible.
Calais, I appreciate you so much. Thanks for being so open to all the questions, and I cannot wait to see you on my side, but please don't come here very soon, because I'm excited about this team, the way it's going, and I'm glad that you're enjoying every moment.
Good.
What's the Brock Purdy situation?
So good. Kyle said there's a chance he could play.
Okay. Still might be Mac Jones.
Yeah.
Cool. Oof. All All right, get these guys in your lineup, hang out with the props over on the sports books and take a look. You up. These are some sleeper picks. By the way, last week, all my guys scored touchdowns. Drake May was one of these guys last week, so you better listen. At quarterback, I'm going to go Caleb Williams, okay? Cowboys defense, 2 banged up starting corners, haven't been at practice. They might play, but I feel like from a fantasy perspective, you have Caleb in your lineup, not bad. Top 10, okay? You can get him at the 14th best value if you are playing daily fantasy. But I think the props I think I like them in this game in general. So I think the Bears win and Caleb needs to be in your lineup. I like Jordan Mason up against the Bengals. Cincy, top 3 most generous so far to opposing running backs. This is now Jordan's show, of course, with Aaron Jones, sadly, on IR. Hopefully he gets back soon. And I like him. So take advantage of that. And that's good value right now while you still can. And then I like Ricky Pearsall. I liked him last week too. He's 40th at the wide receiver spot if you play FanDuel fantasy. But a great start to the season. We don't know if it's Brock throwing him the ball or Mac throwing him the ball. I'm going to be in the building, so I'll give him the up and out boost. And he's got Cardinals secondary. That's a little banged up right now. We got to go. You guys got the Dolphins and the Bills tonight. Go check out on our socials the prop-a-shot action between Gronk and I and play along with us and pick me because I'm going to win.